Have you ever made what seemed like a small mistake, only to find it still lingering in your mind years later? As we grow older, every decision, whether big or small, has a way of echoing more loudly. The habits we keep, the choices we avoid, and the way we care for ourselves don't just fade with time, they accumulate. What felt harmless in our 50s or 60s can quietly shape the quality of our later years. In this video, we'll uncover 8 surprisingly common mistakes that many seniors make without even realizing how deeply they affect happiness, health, and peace of mind. These aren't the typical warnings you've already heard. They're the subtle habits and overlooked choices that slowly erode well-being and connection, but can be changed once you see them clearly. Stay with me until the end, because recognizing even just one of these early on could spare you years of regret and help you build a stronger, happier future. Now let's get started. Number 1. Neglecting social connections. One of the most damaging mistakes older adults often make, sometimes without even noticing, is letting their social world quietly shrink. Retirement rolls around, the kids move away, friends pass on or become less mobile, and suddenly the once busy calendar grows quieter. What starts as a few quiet weekends can slowly stretch into weeks of solitude, then months of emotional withdrawal. And here's the catch. Many seniors don't even realize it's happening until loneliness has already taken hold. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a serious health risk. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness can raise the risk of cognitive decline, heart disease, depression, and even early death. And yet, it often begins with something as simple as skipping a gathering or not returning a phone call. There's no single moment that shouts, "You're becoming isolated." It just creeps in, disguised as rest or independence. When you stop reaching out, when you let routines replace relationships, you start to lose the invisible threads that hold your emotional world together. Humans are wired for connection, no matter how old we are, and contrary to the old belief that friendships are a young person's game, meaningful connections are more vital than ever in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Let's think about a man named Walter, 82 years old, who used to spend his weekends playing cards with his neighbors. After a minor fall, he stopped attending for just a few weeks. Those weeks turned into months. Before long, his phone stopped ringing. He told himself he liked the peace and quiet, but in truth, he missed the laughter, the teasing, the simple joy of being remembered. He wasn't unhappy exactly, but he wasn't fully alive either. You don't need a crowd. One phone call, one weekly lunch, one book club meeting can make all the difference. And sometimes, the bravest thing isn't facing physical illness, it's picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, I was thinking about you." There's no age limit on friendship, and no expiration date on the need to feel seen, heard, and valued. If you've pulled back from people, not out of choice, but out of habit, it's never too late to step forward again. Because when we stop connecting, we don't just lose others, we lose parts of ourselves. Number 2, ignoring physical health until it's too late. Another mistake that quietly robs older adults of joy and independence is treating health as something to think about later. Far too many seniors wait until a crisis forces them to act, when the truth is, by then the damage is often already done. Skipping annual checkups, avoiding screenings, or ignoring small aches because they seem normal for my age can turn manageable conditions into life-altering ones. Think of how many times you've heard a friend say, "I wish I had gone to the doctor earlier." A simple pain in the knee can turn into limited mobility. A little shortness of breath might be a warning sign of heart trouble. Neglecting dental health could lead to infections that affect not just your mouth, but your entire body. These things rarely explode overnight. They build up slowly, often silently. By the time the problem demands attention, it can be far more difficult to reverse. But beyond the doctor's office, it's the small daily choices that make the difference. Seniors who stay active, eat nourishing foods, and make sleep a priority often find that they feel not just healthier, but more alive. It isn't about trying to look young again. It's about giving yourself the best chance at maintaining strength, balance, and energy for the years ahead. Consider Susan, a 74-year-old woman who brushed off her doctor's advice to stay active. She felt fine, so why bother? But over time, her muscles weakened, her balance worsened, and one day, a simple trip over the edge of a rug left her with a broken hip. The road to recovery was long and painful, and she often said she wished she had listened sooner. Her story is not rare. It is one of the most common patterns seniors face. Taking your health seriously doesn't mean living in fear of illness. It means respecting your body enough to notice the signals it sends and responding with care instead of denial. A brisk walk each day, staying hydrated, doing light stretching, keeping up with regular screenings. These are not luxuries. They are investments in your freedom to live the way you want. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3. Holding on to grudges from the past. One of the most underestimated mistakes that quietly poisons your peace in old age is carrying unresolved anger or resentment deep into your later years. Maybe it's a betrayal that never got closure, a harsh word from a sibling that still stings, a misunderstanding that drove a wedge between you and someone you once loved. The details vary, but the result is the same: bitterness that lingers long after the event is over. Many people assume that with age comes automatic wisdom and peace, but the truth is, time doesn't heal all wounds, at least not on its own. What time does do is give us more years to carry the weight if we choose not to let it go. And make no mistake, holding on to old pain is exhausting. It eats away at joy. It clouds your ability to enjoy the present. It can even make your body feel heavier, more tired, as if the anger has taken root, not just in your mind, but in your bones. There's an old saying that goes, holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick, and it's true. The person who hurt you may have moved on. They may not even remember what they said or did, but every time you replay that moment in your head, your nervous system relives it too, raising your blood pressure, tightening your muscles, and pulling you out of the life that's happening right now. Let me tell you about Frank, a 78-year-old retired school principal who hadn't spoken to his brother in over 30 years. The feud started over an inheritance dispute that spiraled into silence. Every Thanksgiving, Frank would say, "He knows where I live." But deep down, he was the one suffering, not because of the disagreement, but because of the pride that kept the door closed. In his quiet moments, he often wondered what might have happened if he had just picked up the phone. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending the hurt never happened. It doesn't mean you agree with what was done to you. It means deciding that your peace of mind is more important than being right, that your remaining years are too valuable to be spent looking backward. You don't have to tell them. You don't even have to speak to them again. But you can choose right now to release that weight, to stop giving that pain space in your heart. Because when you do, you open the door to peace, to lightness, to freedom you may have forgotten you were missing. And you deserve that kind of freedom, not someday, but today. Number 4. Living without a sense of purpose. A mistake that leaves many older adults feeling restless and disconnected is letting go of purpose after retirement. When the job ends, the kids are grown, and the daily schedule loosens, it's easy to slip into a rhythm that feels calm at first, but slowly starts to feel empty. Purpose is not just a concept for the young or ambitious. It's the fuel that keeps your days meaningful, your heart engaged, and your spirit alive. No matter your age, without purpose, days begin to blur together. Morning routines become mindless. Evenings stretch long and uneventful, and while rest is essential, too much of it can start to feel like waiting, not living. The joy of waking up with something to look forward to, something that matters to you, is one of the most powerful predictors of emotional well-being in later life. Many seniors think purpose has to be something big, volunteering at every event, writing a memoir, traveling the world. But true purpose often lives in the small moments, teaching your grandson how to plant tomatoes, visiting the neighbor who lives alone, organizing photos from a lifetime of memories, sharing stories that carry wisdom forward. The question isn't, what do I have to do? It's what makes me feel needed, useful, and alive. Let's look at Helen, age 76. After retiring from her job as a librarian, she spent months drifting. Her days were filled with television and quiet lunches alone. She told herself she was resting, but deep inside, she felt like something had gone missing. Then one day, a neighbor mentioned a local reading program for children. Helen signed up thinking it would be something to pass the time. What she found was a renewed sense of energy, joy, and connection. Those 30 minutes of reading each week brought color back into her life. We all need to feel that we matter, that our presence makes a difference, that we're still building, not just reminiscing. And when you find that thread, whether it's creating, giving, mentoring, or simply showing up, you rediscover a sense of direction that no retirement clock can ever take away. Purpose doesn't have to be grand to be meaningful, it just has to be yours. And when you claim it, life becomes less about counting the days and more about making each one count. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5, refusing to ask for help when you need it. There's a quiet kind of suffering that many older adults endure, not because of physical pain or financial hardship, but because of pride. One of the most common yet unspoken mistakes in later life is refusing to ask for help, even when it's deeply needed. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that independence is the ultimate sign of strength. And while independence is a beautiful thing, isolation, disguised as independence, can slowly lead to avoidable misery. Many seniors would rather struggle in silence than admit they're having a hard time, whether it's trouble reaching something high on the shelf, managing medications, navigating technology, or even facing grief or depression. There's a quiet fear that asking for help means admitting weakness. But in truth, asking for help is one of the most courageous things you can do. It's not a sign of failure, it's a sign that you still care enough about your well-being to take action. Let me tell you about George, a 79-year-old man who lived alone after his wife passed away. He prided himself on being self-sufficient, but over time, he started missing meals, forgetting to pay bills, and ignoring messages from his doctor's office. His daughter didn't find out until months later, when she visited and found piles of unopened mail. George didn't want to be a burden. He didn't want to admit that grief had taken a toll, or that daily tasks had become overwhelming. But when he finally allowed others to step in, his world began to open up again. Asking for help doesn't mean giving up control. In fact, it's often the very thing that allows you to maintain control over your life. It means recognizing that life is not meant to be lived entirely alone. We are built for community, for mutual support, not silent endurance. It might be as simple as asking a neighbor to help set up a phone, or telling your family that you need more check-ins, or reaching out to a counselor or support group when you feel overwhelmed. These are not signs of weakness, they are signs of wisdom. We all want to feel capable. We all want to be seen as strong, But the strongest people are the ones who know when to reach out, not just for themselves, but so they can continue showing up for others too. Because life isn't just about how long we can go without help, it's about how well we can live when we embrace it. Number 6. Dwelling on the good old days and rejecting the present. A surprisingly harmful habit that sneaks into many people's later years is clinging so tightly to the past that the present becomes something to resent instead of embrace. It often starts innocently, remembering old songs, talking about how things used to be, sharing stories from younger years. There's nothing wrong with nostalgia. In fact, cherished memories can be a source of comfort. But when those memories become the lens through which we see everything today, it can leave us stuck, bitter about what's changed, blind to what's still beautiful, and disconnected from the life unfolding right now. You've likely heard phrases like, "Things were better back then," or "Nothing's the same anymore." And while some of that might feel true, getting lost in those thoughts too often can rob you of joy in the present moment. Let's talk about Martha, 81. Who often told her friends, "Back when I was young, people had manners. These days, no one respects anything." Over time, she became more withdrawn, convinced that the world no longer had a place for her values. She stopped going to community events, avoided younger neighbors, and spent more time alone. But what she didn't realize was that her desire for connection hadn't changed. The world had simply shifted, and she had chosen to stand still. There's a certain kind of sadness that grows when we constantly compare now to then, and that sadness builds a wall between us and the people who want to connect with us today, especially younger generations. When you choose to stay open to new music, new technology, new ideas, you don't just keep your brain sharp, you keep your heart soft. No one is saying to forget the past. Those memories are treasures, but they shouldn't be the only thing that brings you meaning. There are still sunrises to watch, still friends to laugh with, still new recipes to try, books to read, jokes to hear, and lessons to learn. The world might feel different than it used to, but you still belong in it. You are not a guest in the present, you are a living, breathing part of it. And when you open yourself to today, not just to endure it, but to explore it, you start to realize that purpose and connection don't have an expiration date. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 7. Letting fear dictate your decisions. As we get older, it's natural to become more cautious. We've lived through enough to know what can go wrong, and we carry those lessons with us. But one of the most destructive mistakes seniors can make is allowing fear, not wisdom, to steer the ship. Fear of change, fear of getting hurt. And while a little caution is healthy, too much of it can quietly build a cage around your life. It often starts with small things. You decline an invitation to an event because you don't know many people there. You avoid trying a new hobby because you're not sure you'll be any good. You stay home instead of traveling because you worry about discomfort or inconvenience. You avoid conversations about finances or health because you're afraid of what you might hear. Over time, these small avoidances grow into patterns, and before long, fear is making decisions you never agreed to. Now, fear itself isn't the enemy. It's a signal, something to listen to, but not something to obey blindly. When fear starts deciding where you go, what you try, and who you let in, it doesn't protect you, it robs you. It takes from you the very things that make life worth living: growth, excitement, connection, and pride in overcoming something hard. Think about Harold, 72, who had always wanted to paint but never picked up a brush. He told himself he was too old to start now, and that real artists start young. But the truth was, he was afraid he'd look silly, afraid his work wouldn't be good. It wasn't until his granddaughter gave him a watercolor set for his birthday and said, I want you to paint with me that he found the courage to try. And what he discovered was joy, not mastery, not fame, but joy. Fear wants to keep us safe, but sometimes it keeps us small, and in old age, shrinking your life out of fear doesn't protect you from regret, it often guarantees it. Try the new thing, ask the question, do the thing that scares you just a little, because often, that's the very thing that will expand your world instead of shrinking it. You've already done the hardest part, you've lived, so don't let fear start writing your story now. Number 8. Avoiding conversations about death, finances, and legacy. One of the most quietly harmful mistakes many seniors make is avoiding the big conversations, especially the ones about death, money, and what happens after they're gone. These topics can feel heavy, uncomfortable, even frightening, but dodging them doesn't make them disappear. It only leaves confusion, stress, and sometimes even conflict for the people you love most. Many older adults think, I don't want to be a burden, or there's plenty of time. But the truth is, preparing for the end of life isn't morbid, it's an act of love. It's a way to take care of your family one final time, to leave clarity instead of chaos, peace instead of questions. That means making sure your will is up to date, having honest discussions about where important documents are kept, making clear decisions about your healthcare wishes, choosing who will handle things if you're unable to. These things are not just legal matters, they are emotional gifts. They are ways of saying, I cared enough about you to make this easier. Take the case of Louise, age 84. She had always avoided conversations about money and end-of-life care with her children, brushing it off with, oh, don't worry about all that. But when a sudden stroke left her unable to speak, her family was left scrambling. No one knew what she wanted. Decisions had to be made in a fog of grief and stress. And while they did their best, Louise's silence left more pain than peace. Contrast that with Leonard, 79, who sat down one weekend and walked through everything with his 2 sons. Not just the paperwork, but his thoughts, his wishes, even his funeral song. It wasn't an easy talk, but it brought them closer. They laughed, they cried. And when Leonard passed 2 years later, his family knew exactly what to do. They mourned with certainty, not confusion. Having these conversations doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're taking control. It means you're living intentionally, even in planning for the end. And perhaps most importantly, it gives you a chance to define your legacy, not just through money or property, but through values, stories, and clarity. You've lived a full and meaningful life. You've earned the right to decide how it will be honored, remembered, and carried forward. Don't leave that to chance. Speak your wishes, write them down, and face the final chapter with the same wisdom and courage you've shown throughout every stage of your journey. That, more than anything, is a gift your loved ones will cherish forever. Final thoughts. As we close this video, take a moment to reflect on the 8 common, but often overlooked mistakes we've explored. Which one resonated most with you? Do you recognize any of these patterns in your own life, or perhaps in someone you care about? Aging isn't about avoiding every misstep. It's about recognizing where we still have the power to grow, adjust, and make our years not just longer, but richer, more meaningful, and deeply connected. These insights aren't meant to shame or alarm you, but to remind you of a simple truth. It's never too late to shift course. Even small changes today can bring profound rewards tomorrow. So I encourage you, choose just one of these lessons and put it into practice this week. Maybe it's reaching out to an old friend, scheduling that overdue checkup, or finally writing down your wishes. You don't have to do it all at once. The important part is simply to begin. Thank you for being here with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one takeaway that spoke to you and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your words not only inspire us, but they also encourage others in this community. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support allows us to continue creating content that informs, uplifts, and inspires. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.